Okay, so today's episode of Stop Calling the Police for This, it's going to have a little bit of a twist. And to be honest, it caught me off guard. So, the topic for today is stop calling the police because your kid won't get out of bed and go to school. These are fairly common calls for the police to get, either on third shift, because if you get off at 7 in the morning, kids are supposed to be getting up at like 6 or 6:30, and they often don't want to get up. So you'll see those calls pop up on the board. Often, if you have a good third shift sergeant, he'll tell radio, go ahead and hold that call for first shift. And then first shift, when you come into work, it's not uncommon to look at the board and you'll see one or two calls of a domestic dispute. And it'll say that their 15-year-old, 13-year-old, whatever, is refusing to get out of bed and go to school. So, a couple years ago, I was still working third shift, and one of those calls was sitting there on the board. Now, it's a low priority call, and it's around shift change, so generally speaking, around shift change, we don't take low priority calls, we take the high priority calls. That should be obvious. At shift change, there's a lot fewer officers on the street, so you don't take the BS, so to speak, calls. But this one, I decided it was on my district, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go have a talk with this parent, because I was frustrated. I'm tired of people calling because they expect me to be the parent for their kids. There's a very common slang word or a phrase out there that says, don't expect me to fix in 15 minutes what you screwed up for 15 years. I had all the lines lined up in my head of what I was going to say to this woman. So I get to the house, I knock on the door. This woman comes to the door. She might have even been slightly younger than me. I can't remember. She's in tears, and the first thing out of her mouth is, "Officer, I'm sorry that I called you." It immediately kind of set you back a little bit, because this is not the situation you were expecting. I was expecting some indignant parent just expecting me to come and do their job for them because their kid wouldn't get up for school. This young lady went on to explain to me that she works two jobs. She works second shift and third shift in order to be able to put her kids through school. And she even took the additional step, which this might be partially illegal, but I don't care, of she has a family member who does not live in the neighborhood she lives in. She has a family member that lives in kind of more of an elite suburb of the city, and she has her children's address listed as her family member's address so that they're able to go to a better school district. She's done a lot for these kids. She works, told you, she works second shift and third shift, so she basically never gets to see her kids. She sleeps when they're at school. She wakes up, might throw some food on the table, and then go to her second shift job, which I think she was some kind of waitress, and then her third shift job, I believe she was cleaning offices or something like that. She wasn't even asking me to talk to her kid for her. She was just asking me for advice in parenting, because her kid was, I believe, 15 years old and just didn't understand how much she was doing for him. And she was asking for advice on how to get through to him, because she didn't have anybody else to turn to, so she called the police. It was one of those moments that really just kind of hit home for me, that the people in these communities, they really need us, because there's not a lot of good role models in these neighborhoods, and the only people that they know they can look up to are the police, because we're like the only people in their lives who aren't alcoholics or addicted to drugs or unemployed or who have been in and out of jail. When you need a role model in these communities, a lot of times the only person they have to call is the police. It was just one of those moments that kind of really caught me off guard, because I really did think I was going to show up, because I've done it before, show up and end up having to spend more time correcting the parent than I was going to correct the kid. That's what happens the majority of the time. But she really caught me off guard, and just a story I wanted to share with you guys today, because there's a lot that goes on that people don't get to hear about. So those are my thoughts for today. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.